Hello, students. This is part 2 of the cause and effect lesson. In part 1, we looked at cause and effect markers and connectors. Now we're going to identify them in sentences and we're going to find the causes and effects in the sentences. So let's look at this example. I'm going to read the sentence. Then we're going to identify a cause and effect marker or connector that's inside of the sentence. Then we're going to identify the cause and the effect. So here we go. Scientists have long known that specific genes are associated with a number of serious diseases and birth defects. First of all, let's find the cause and effect marker or connector. In this sentence, it is the word associated. Associated also means linked. So we know that the genes, the specific genes, are associated with serious diseases and birth defects. Associated is our marker. What is the cause? Is the cause specific genes? Or is the cause the serious diseases and the birth defects? Well, we know that first the person must have the specific genes, and then when they have those genes, then they get the serious diseases or the birth defects. So the specific genes are the cause, and the serious diseases and birth defects are the effect. Another example. Scientists have used this knowledge to develop tests to identify defective genes, which are the result of mutations, natural processes that alter the genetic material. First, let's look for words that indicate, so the markers or connectors that tell us or indicate to us that there's a cause and effect relationship. In this sentence, the result of tells us that there's a cause and effect. So something is the result of something else. So we have defective genes. These defective genes are the result of mutations. So which comes first? What is the cause? Mutations. Mutations cause these defective genes. So when something is the result of something, it's the effect of something. So mutations is the cause, defective genes is the result or the effect, and the result of tells or indicates a cause and effect relationship. So the result of is the marker. Let's look at example number 3. Researchers have identified a large number of genes that are responsible for life-threatening conditions such as cystic fibrosis, a disease that shortens people's lives by attacking their lungs, and Huntington's disease, a fatal brain condition. So we're looking first for the marker. The marker is the one that indicates to us that there is a cause and effect relationship. In this sentence, responsible for means that it's talking about a cause. What is responsible for the life-threatening conditions? a large number of genes. The large number of genes are responsible for life-threatening conditions. Now, after this, it says such as cystic fibrosis, a disease that shortens people's lives by attacking their lungs. This is one example of a life-threatening condition. And the other is Huntington's disease, a fatal brain condition. That's another example. So these are simply examples of the life-threatening conditions that are the effect of the large number of genes. So our marker is responsible for, because it's like saying it's the cause. The large number of genes, the ones that are responsible for, are the cause, and the life-threatening conditions are the effect. Okay, example number 4. At the end of the 20th century, researchers began to develop treatments for a variety of life-threatening genetic diseases. The early results seemed very encouraging, and consequently, people with genetic diseases became hopeful that they would soon see a cure. Now, first of all, let's talk about this because we have 2 sentences. Here in the first sentence, it says that the researchers began to develop treatments. So these treatments that the researchers are developing are going to treat the life-threatening genetic diseases. So that tells us that this happened first. Now, when it says the early results, what these results are the results of the researchers developing the treatments. These are the results of the treatments being used on these life-threatening diseases. So the early results that came from these treatments seemed very encouraging. That must mean that the treatments seemed to be working. The results seemed very encouraging. And consequently, people with genetic diseases became hopeful. So this consequently here is telling us that because these early results seemed very encouraging, this was causing people with genetic diseases to become hopeful. So consequently here is a connector that indicates a cause and effect relationship. So what is the cause? The early results seemed very encouraging. That's the cause. And this cause caused the people over here with genetic diseases to become hopeful. That's the result. So consequently, it's telling us that we have a result coming. We have an effect coming. Here's the cause. The early results seemed encouraging. Here's the result. People with genetic diseases became hopeful. And remember, consequently comes before an effect. So that's our connector for this one. Let's read this next example. Unfortunately, for some genetic diseases, there is no treatment, which gives rise to even more complex ethical issues. So first, let's find the marker. The marker is gives rise to. This is saying that one thing is causing another. So give rise to is like saying causes. What is causing what? The fact that there is no treatment. There is no treatment for, it's talking about that there is no treatment for some genetic diseases. So there is no treatment for those genetic diseases. And that fact gives rise to, and then what we have after that is the result, even more complex ethical issues. Here's our last example. Patients may prefer to not know about their condition and enjoy their lives while they are healthy. So they may decide not to get genetic tests at all. So which word in here is our marker? It could be a marker or a connector. It's the word so. What comes before so is the cause, and then what comes after it is the effect. So what is the cause? The patients prefer to not know about their condition. They're also preferring to enjoy their lives while they're healthy. And because of these two preferences, the preference of not knowing about their condition and the preference to enjoy their lives while they are healthy, since they have those two preferences, because of this, they may decide not to get genetic tests at all. That would be the effect. And that is the end of our examples for part 2.